This week, our special guest is one of Australia's most loved TV personalities, who's won the hearts of millions of viewers with his sharp wit, infectious humour, and love of food. However, there's more to him than just his on-screen persona, as he's also established an impressive name for himself within the hospitality industry. So sit back and listen to the entertaining and insightful story of the one and only Jad Nehmetallah.
And we're live on a podcast with Jad. Thank you for taking the time to travel all the way here to be on this podcast with us.
Thank you, Selina. I've been quite excited to come and share my story and have a chat with you. Maybe we'll unlock some stories here today. It's been an honour to be able to sit here on this beautiful, fluffy. Nice.
Aren't they comfy?
It's
Do you
comfy,
like that?
Yeah, it kind of feels luxe, eh?
I love it.
It's got a nice feeling to it.
I love these. But anyways, let's jump in. Tell me, what was your childhood like growing up? What was little Jad like?
Little Jad was... define what little is, like from how old, like if you want. I still feel I'm little, to be honest, but little Jad was quite, I think, very smart at a young age, always super intuitive. I loved to obviously study and whatnot, but you know, heaps active, super curious. I think I started to become a little bit of trouble maybe when I was like 9 or 10.
Love that.
And obviously throughout, like, I think high school, I was pretty much, I wouldn't say bad news. I was very cheeky. I was very witty. I was charming. I always got myself into trouble. But I always also got myself out of trouble.
That's the key.
Yeah, that's the key. You know, so I can always talk myself in and out of every situation,
Love
which
that.
I learned it quite like at a young age, which was funny.
Yeah.
So for me, I also had a very, very, very good childhood. I was pretty blessed. My parents came here when I was 3.5, 4 years old, grew up in Punchbowl.
So I used to live in Punchbowl when I was a kid as well.
Yeah, there you go. So you know all about the area.
Course. Love it.
You can't beat it. Grew up, around the beautiful community.
Yeah.
You know, went to church 2 streets away. I went to the same school as well where I did go to church. That was nice. I had great neighbours, good family, friends that, lived around. A lot of great, places where you can eat.
Yeah.
What else can I say? I think, we came here, as obviously son of an immigrant. So kind of growing up in Punchbowl, I would say was very colourful. I grew up in an era where things were pretty, I wouldn't say fun, but I would say quite interesting. It was an era where there was, a lot of hate on the Lebanese community. It was an era where there was a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to grow up very, very quick, especially being the eldest, especially only having like just maybe 2 cousins here as well, 3 cousins. The rest were overseas. But I was very privileged. I had a good childhood. Our parents gave me and my brother and sister everything. We didn't miss out on anything. They didn't make us feel like we were ever missing out on anything from regards to, if we wanted to eat anywhere or travel or whatnot. My parents really supported us and gave us everything, especially when it came to education or sports or investing in us. So I'm super grateful.
That's beautiful. I think, I think a lot of people can relate to that immigrant story. And I can only imagine it must have been really hard for your parents to like leave their home and come here and start afresh. What did they do for work, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so Dad was in construction. Dad and Mum got together. They got married. They actually lived in Saudi Arabia for a little bit because that's where Dad worked.
Oh, nice.
But, even though I'm from Lebanon, I was actually born in Saudi Arabia. Funny enough.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think many people know that. And I came here when I was 3.5, 4 years old, and Dad had to kind of start his life all over again. He was super successful in Saudi Arabia and Lebanon, but with the turn of the economy and whatnot, he lost a lot of money, which has happened recently in Lebanon now regarding the economy and the money. Same thing happened back then, so we had to start life all over again. They came here, I think, in 88 or 89. He had to work 3 jobs at a car wash, at a restaurant and, you know, doing concreting.
Yeah.
Mum was only, I think, 21 when she got here.
Wow.
No just one uncle, two uncles, no one else. Mum had no immediate family or family here.
Wow. Yeah.
So she had to kind of raise. My sister was born here 2 years later in 1990. So my mum had to raise 3 kids pretty much on her own while supporting my father in his business and, in his work. It actually took us 9 years to get our citizenship.
Really?
Yeah, we were not going to get it. We kept fighting. And an interesting story was, I think after 5 or 6 years of us trying, I remember my parents said, look, we have to leave the country. We've been told to leave. We've only got 3 months to stay.
No way.
Yeah, and they put the house for sale. I remember the signboard, massive signboard, wooden signboard saying for sale at the front of our house. And I remember crying and I remember like saying, no, I don't want to leave. This is our house. Look, this is our home.
Yeah.
And my parents are like, it is what it is. We've tried whatever we can do to stay and it's unfortunate, but we have to go.
Yeah.
The house never sold. Don't know why, just never sold. Obviously, it was a sign from God that we're meant to be in this country and obviously had different plans for us. And my parents took that as a sign and they said, okay, we're going to try something different. We're going to invest more time and more money and just maybe see another lawyer or do something else to try and stay in the country. Long behold, we made a few changes and then, we got accepted and we became citizens.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Imagine if your house had sold and you would have been on a different path altogether.
We would have been back in Lebanon or who knows where I would have been or what I would have been doing, but we were definitely on the way out.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
oh my
it's
gosh.
wild. Yeah. Life takes you, know,
Yeah.
in places that you'd never think of.
Yeah, and you just got to sort of roll with it, hey?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why when things happen in life and you get all these signs or these moments, you need to kind of reflect on them and say, okay, what can I do to be able to act on this sign? Because, it is a sign, and how can I use this as an opportunity to pursue what I want or what I love or to go further in life. Yeah. So you got to always, look out for the signs in life. And they don't have to always be big signs. You can always see like little signs or tells. And I think that also comes from being intuitive as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you were quite young when that happened. Hey, you said...
I think I was like 7. Yeah, maybe 7.
And how was school like for you? How was primary school and high school?
So I went to the same primary school and high school all the way through.
Was it like a K to 12?
K to 12, all Lebanese, Christian school, Catholic school, Maronite Catholic, St. Charbel's in Punch Bowl, represent.
I know that, yeah.
You know that. So for me, I was very, I didn't like studying. Yeah. I found it difficult to study, but I was super intelligent. I could memorize everything within a day. All I needed was a couple of days to memorize things, but I found it difficult to study. I kind of didn't enjoy studying, to be quite honest. I felt like school, coming back and reflecting on it and talking to other people, it was almost like, that movie High School High. We ran amok, we had fun.
Yeah.
Again, we grew up in a school where everyone was Lebanese. I think we had one person that was half Lebanese and we thought he was like an alien, like he was alienated. Like, wow, have you seen a guy that's half Lebanese? Like, that's
really?
It was, everyone was Lebanese. Yeah. We all came from the same kind of, cut from the same cloth kind of thing. So it was fun. It was wild. It was kind of also, I would say, it was good in a way where it kind of kept us grounded. We weren't very exposed to as many things as we would have been or I would have been, if I had gone to a different school which was kind of good because I was wild as it is and I didn't need any other excuse or any more reasons to kind of break free more than what I was already doing. So I'm kind of glad that, it was a lot more contained.
Yeah.
But it was fun. We learnt a lot. Obviously, biggest thing was we learned Arabic, we learned about, faith, which is quite, strong and something important to me as well.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of good things that came out of the school as well. Awesome teachers and made a lot of friends for life as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
Any favorite subjects? Out of curiosity?
I'm trying to think. Legal studies I was good at.
Really?
I was good at legal studies.
I like legal studies.
Yeah, I was good at business studies. Funny enough, I did advanced English. I don't know how I did advanced English. What else? I think that's it. Business studies, legal studies, advanced English.
Well, that's interesting because you're like now a businessman. You're a restaurateur. Like,
yeah.
I feel like that played quite nicely for you.
I was always just very modern history. I was okay in.
Yeah.
I felt like business has always been something I've been interested in since I was a little kid, without me knowing, and that's been because I've been a product of my surroundings.
Yeah, like your parents.
Yeah. Spent a lot of time with my father. I think just being around my father. So kind of maybe 5-10 years ago, I was reflecting a lot, saying, okay, why am I the way I am? Or how am I this person? And I started reflecting because, to be honest, I didn't really get much formal education after school. I did, attempt to go to uni a couple of times, and I did TAFE, and that's a whole different story about TAFE. We'll get into that maybe later. But I started reflecting to, why am I the person I am today?
Yeah.
And it's definitely a product of, your surroundings and your upbringing and who you are as from a kid to at least 17, 18 years old. And not saying that you can't always evolve and change. And I learnt that because I was around my father a lot, and he used to take me with him after school to go and quote jobs because, he's a concreter, formworker and construction.
Yeah.
I learned the art of selling and marketing and being persuasive right through him by listening to him, when he would go and meet with clients or potential clients and try and sell them his service. And then I learned how he used to upsell and build relationships, and how he was charming and breaking the ice and building rapport almost immediately.
Yeah.
So I kind of learned that from him very, very early on, very quickly, and he's very witty himself. So I also, learned to kind of be very persistent through him as well. There was always yes. There was never no. It was always yes, you can do this. Yes, we can do this. There's never an excuse. It was always, and then I carried on to say, don't give me an excuse, find me a solution.
I like that.
Yeah, like, when people say, I said, I don't believe in excuses, just find me a solution.
Yeah.
Never an excuse, find me a solution. So I was kind of conditioned in a way to become the person I have become today, which is super persistent.
Yeah.
And kind of like never give up attitude.
Yeah.
I think
those are very important qualities to have in general in life. You never know sort of like when life knocks you down, even like you need to have that determination, that persistence to sort of achieve your dreams. And I think, like, I'm assuming, was your dad sort of like your role model growing up?
Both mum and dad.
Yeah.
Mum obviously had a massive part of my life.
Yeah.
Mum was, mum's the rock. She's like the, super faithful, super like stay strong.
That's good.
Things are going to be good.
Yeah.
She's extremely intuitive. She's smart. She's a hustler too. She'll never, take no for an answer. She'll always find a way. So kind of just growing her up in that environment, absorbed a lot from both of them.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
So then take me to, so you've graduated high school. You said you attempted uni and TAFE.
Yeah.
How was that journey like?
So obviously I left high school and a lot of people in the Lebanese community would know, or in other communities, you traditionally, or you I don't know if it's a tradition, but it felt like that at the time, you do what your dad does. Right. And I said, okay, I'll pursue, especially being the eldest. Yeah. I said, okay, I'll pursue a career in construction.
Really?
Yeah. So I went to uni to study civil engineering.
Really?
Yeah, lasted probably 7 months.
Yeah, that's all right.
Did okay. Wasn't really for me. And then I left, and then I actually ended up studying construction at TAFE, but I went to 4 or 5 different TAFEs
Why?
because I got kicked out of a few. Yeah, just not,
Didn't
yeah,
gel.
just whatever. I just
Yeah.
got kicked out of a few and just kept, I think I went to Hornsby, Ultimo, Granville,
I tried them all.
and Minto.
And Minto.
Yes.
It's not really far.
It's like almost near Liverpool. So I went
Oh my
pretty
God.
much all over Sydney.
All over Sydney, yeah.
For TAFEs. So I did that.
Mm.
While I was doing that, I was working with my father. While I was studying, I was working with my father in construction, in the concrete formworking game in particular, and we really grew the business to another level.
That's cool.
Obviously, I was a massive help to him at the time, and we started to really grow the business exponentially, like quite fast. But at the time as well, I stumbled across becoming a promoter for nightclubs.
Ah.
So I was studying construction, working in it, but then I started to become a promoter.
Wow, what an interesting
Yeah,
mix.
it was crazy because I also did a few under 18 parties back in the day as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I stumbled across promotions. I met this guy. He's like, yeah, I run clubs. I'm like, what do you mean you run clubs? He's like, yeah, I run my own events. Do you want to become a promoter? I said, what does that do? He goes, you just got to hand out flyers and get people to this club. And I'm like, okay, sounds cool. I'll give you $3 a person. I'm like, oh, that's not bad. It's good money as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was 18, 19 at the time.
Yeah.
So I started to do that. I was really good at it. And I went up to him, I think after 3 months, I said, look, I'm going to start running my own events.
Ah.
He's like, well, you've just started. I'm like, yeah, but I think I can do my own. So linked up with a few people, linked up with a guy. And funny enough, we ended up meeting again a few years later, and he ended up, becoming a prominent figure in the nightlife industry, and I did as well. In particular, we're in King's Cross. But yeah, we did our first big event together. We got 1,200 people.
Wow.
And I'm talking like back then, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram. I don't even think there was MySpace. So if you want to hear a real fucking hustle, I printed 50,000 flyers. Myself and probably 4 or 5 other people gave them out outside of every university, bars, nightclubs, inside nightclubs. I'm talking like outside the Eastern, in Bondi Junction, outside all the clubs in the city, Parramatta. I think we even went outside churches. Like we didn't leave a place that we didn't hand out these flyers. Every main street in the city, Oxford Street, King's Cross, all the back streets of the city, Pitt Street, King Street, all the streets had a flyer on them. Right. I think we ended up doing we did a rerun as well.
Oh my God.
Created the event, came up with a name, got all the DJs, and that's how we used to promote events.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was all through flyer and word of mouth, because there was no social media.
Yeah.
And, that's how I learned the real art of hustling, Try give out flyers and get knocked back and keep doing it again and doing it again, and try give out flyers in the freezing cold in winter or the stinking hot in summer, and you give it to someone, they throw it on the floor and you still keep on going and doing it. That's where I learned the art of like hustle and persist and, being persistent. Anyways, we got 1,200 people to this event. It was super successful. And then from then I carried on. I created Funk Entertainment. So that's where Jad Funk comes from. And I took on a lot of nightclubs in the city, and then I started taking on clubs in King's Cross, and I had, I think 18 or 20 promoters working for me at the time, and just kept growing and putting on really, really good events all across all the venues, and it just kept growing, and it was just a big thing. Yeah, it was really fun. It was an interesting stage of my life, to be quite honest. I grew up very quick.
That's insane to think you went from like studying construction, studying civil engineering to become an events promoter.
Yes.
And then so how did you fall into food?
So in 2010 or 11, I kind of started noticing I'm very good at kind of picking trends or noticing patterns or habits before they actually come. So that's again very intuitive.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like, okay, the cross has another year in it before it starts to die out. This was 2010, 2011. It's got another 1 or 2 golden years. So I said, okay, what am I going to do? I need to do something. I can't, live the rest of my life in a nightclub or in construction or whatnot. So I was seeing her all the time, and she said, you need to go to uni and study, and you're very good at marketing. You should study marketing. I said, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And then no disrespect to anyone that's studying or anyone that's on this particular salary, but for me it was more like a slap in the face, because I was 24 or 25 at the time. I looked at the average salary of a marketing post-grad marketing person, like post-grad marketing salary, and it was $55,000. And I said to myself, fuck, am I going to actually study, come out studying at 28, 29 and earn $55,000? And I said, well, if that's what it is, and then it is what it is, because I used to make a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went New South Wales, Parramatta, Sydney, whatever it's called, Western Sydney, Union, Parramatta.
Yeah.
And I think I've said this before. I didn't really last. I was the rich kid at uni. I was paying everyone to do my assignments. I was,
Were you actually?
Yeah, I was paying people to do my assignments. There was subjects that I was, acing them without even being there. Just kind of knowing what I'd learned from my own marketing skills that I've implemented just from my own knowledge over the 4 or 5 years in running these events.
Yeah.
And I kind of implemented them in a more formal education, and it worked well for me. But yeah, I wasn't interested. But anyways, one day I drove past this location in Burwood, and I happened to know the owner of the location. It was a big building, and I contacted him, and I said, look, we'd spoken a couple of years ago. Do you remember the conversation regarding putting a little cafe in the foyer of this building? He goes, yeah, go have a look, go speak to my dad. I said, okay, I'm at uni. When I finish uni, I'll go past and speak to your father. I went past, had a chat with him. We're sitting down like this around the table.
Yeah.
Kind of struck a deal, negotiated a really good deal, not knowing that I was going there to negotiate a deal. Literally, the plan was a square box in a foyer. It had no seating. It was 10 square meters.
Wow.
It was like a tiny little kiosk.
Oh, wow.
I signed the heads of agreement.
Yep.
I remember coming back, telling my mother and father I'm opening a cafe. They all looked at me thinking, what's our son been smoking, or what's he doing? They looked at me funny, and they're like, what do you mean you're opening a cafe? Are you being for real? I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do it or what I'm going to do, but I'll work it out. Don't stress. And from that moment, I never went back to uni.
Yeah.
Never told them I was leaving. I just completely ghosted uni. Never worked in construction ever again from that day, ever again.
Wow.
I took 6 months off. I had a whole bunch of money already saved up. And I just hustled. I went to every little cafe in Sydney, spoke to all the owners, read a lot about coffee, watched a lot of YouTube clips about coffee, because I never used to drink coffee back then, to be honest. I really didn't know much about it.
And you bought a cafe?
I started it. I didn't buy it. I started it from scratch. I did the branding. I did the logo. I did the interior design. I came up with the concept.
Wow.
I came up with what we're going to serve. And I started this place called Jad's Place, and we happened to be extremely successful. Had it for 9 years, but again, it's because I was able to kind of pick what was missing from the area, bring it, implement it, focus on quality, focus on service, and focus on marketing the business, but also marketing the business within the business. So everything was super playful. The names for the sandwiches were very attractive. The way everything looked, the visual merchandising was super attractive. And that comes from, just me being very, my attention to detail was quite high, and I think I'm actually a perfectionist, which is not a good thing in sometimes, but I am. So we just started that. Mum helped me a lot at the start. We grew up from 1 staff, 2 staff, 3 staff to 4 staff. And we ended up getting seating, which was quite good. We, I think, had 18 seats, which was cool. So yeah, grew that. Had it for 9 years, sold it. In the meantime, I invested in a whole bunch of other stuff, but you know, also then started a cafe in Burwood Park called The Picnic.
Yes.
Not too sure if you've ever been or you heard about it.
Yep, definitely have.
That in itself was crazy. That was like, it's one of a kind kind of cafes that will go down in the history books for its time. The branding, the concept, the name, the location, the offering. It's something that people in Sydney hadn't kind of seen before. And the funny thing is, people were always blown away with it. But I always looked at it as like, nah, it could be better. Or it's just normal.
Wow.
It's super strange. Like, I'm very content for everything I've got and had.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's not good enough. I just consider it as like, it's normal. I don't know. I've got this weird concept of like, nah, we could keep pushing and keep pushing, kind of
Keep
thing.
improving.
Keep being better.
There's always growth.
Always growth, yeah. I never really get starstruck by things that I put my name to or create. I do things because I love doing it. You know, so I do things because I love doing it. I don't do it for the status, or I don't do it for the recognition. I do it because I genuinely love doing what I do, and that's marketing, creating concepts, growing businesses, making people happy, leaving an everlasting impression. You know, that's who I am. It's because I do it because I love doing it, and I'm passionate about that.
No, that's awesome. And to think you went from Jad's place, which was your little kiosk that you grew.
Correct.
You went, and then the picnic, that must have been a large operation to run.
It was a massive jump from 3 staff to 25.
That's crazy.
Overnight.
Oh my God.
From 18 seats to 90 or 100 seats.
Yeah.
Whereas Jad's place was 95% takeaway. And then the picnic was 95% dining. So completely different.
Yeah.
But again, never really worked for anyone in hospitality. I did 10 days for free before I opened Jad's place from 6 to 6.
Yeah.
Just doing anything and everything I could. I went up to a cafe here in Para and I said, I just want to work. I'll do whatever you want. I'm opening a cafe in a month. I just need to actually just see how things are.
Wow.
So that's the only time I ever worked. I wouldn't even say I worked because I never got paid for it, but I worked for someone in hospitality, which was quite interesting. Yeah. And then, the picnic was a massive jump.
Oh my God.
I learnt a lot along the way.
Yeah, you must have.
Of course, you know, to keep a business relevant for 5 years, it doesn't only require running the business, it requires, you know, keeping the business sustainable and afloat, but it also requires you growing the business too.
Of course, yeah.
You know, when the thing is with people, when they open up businesses or when they start a business or want to start a business, there's one thing getting to the point of being able to start a business. And then you go, okay, cool. I reckon I can be able to start a business. I've got an idea. Great. You get to the point of like starting the business, which is an excellent achievement itself. You started a business. But then not only that, now you've got to maintain it, scale or grow the business, and then make sure it's profitable.
Yeah.
And then you also got to make sure that it's relevant and it keeps growing, or it keeps, you know, doing what it does.
Yeah.
So there's many journeys of business. There's many journeys of business.
Yeah.
So it's not just about opening something. It's about being able to maintain it and grow it.
Yeah.
It's like a child. It's like a plant.
Yeah.
It literally is. It's like a relationship. Not that I'm the best at them, but it's...
We can get into that later.
Maybe, yeah.
No, so then you went from Picnic and now you've got your new baby, Misk, right here in Para.
Yes, represent Para. You're actually a stone throw away.
Yeah.
And apparently you went there today.
No, I highly recommend. If anyone, you need to go to Misk. Highly recommend.
Apparently you went there today.
I did. I've been there now 3 times.
Wow, okay.
I love it. Like, honestly, I'm not paid to say this.
Appreciate that. That means a lot to me. That's...
and I can see everything's very like thought out. like from your branding to your menu and everything. Like I can see a lot of thought has gone into it.
A lot of thought.
Were you like across absolutely everything with this?
Yeah, I would say I was across every single little detail, from the interior design to the build to the branding to the marketing to the menu to the cocktail list to the uniforms.
Oh my God.
Everything. Of course, I had to be involved in it.
Yeah.
But, you know, not taking credit away from the people that actually brought the vision to life.
Of course.
And, you know, allowed Misk to be born.
Yeah.
You know, I have to give huge credit to my team and all the suppliers and the people that helped bring Misk to life. You know, without them, the venue would not be a venue. It would just be an idea or a thought in my head.
Yeah.
Which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah.
And will continue to be grateful for.
How did you come up with the idea of Misk? Just out of curiosity.
I won the tender.
Yeah.
For the location in 2017. Long story short, I decided this needs to be a restaurant.
Right.
It needs to be a really well thought out restaurant which can bring a great vibe, good food, good drinks, good wine list, a really good approach to, you know, hospitality, which we're used to in the city or the eastern suburbs or overseas, but haven't really seen much of it in the West. And I thought, why? The West deserves to eat good food, to drink great drinks, to be served, you know, with a smile, to be able to listen to good music and have that kind of vibe and ambient.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, I want to be able to bring that to Parramatta. So against the grain, against all odds, we said we're not going to really treat this as just a cafe where it was before. 7 years ago, it was a burnt down location and there was a cafe before. We're going to rebirth this with a new venue and a new approach. And we did, and it's lucky, it paid off. It was a huge risk. I sold a lot of my assets.
Really?
Yeah, I went all in, sold a lot of my assets, invested a lot of my time, effort. Obviously, it didn't work for 2 years because I'd sold the picnic, then COVID hit.
Yeah, right.
So I had 2 years of pretty much not knowing where my life was going to take me. If Parramatta was going to open, if it was still on the cards, had no income. So I pretty much went all in and put my balls on the line and sold whatever I needed to sell to go in on this project. And so far, it's looking like it's going to pay off. So I'm quite lucky.
It's good.
Yeah.
Wait, so you had like planned to do this during COVID? Like COVID had hit and you...
Yeah, so COVID had hit and I took the opportunity to take, you know, I think from 2020, end of 2020, when did COVID hit? Beginning of 2020.
Yeah,
So I sold the picnic end of 2020. So after the first hit of COVID. And then once I sold that, I sold it with the intention because I got a good offer and I knew that I wanted to put my focus into Misk. Or at the time it wasn't called Misk, but I knew I wanted to put it into Parramatta, the project. So then I took some time off and just started working on it. Did my own personal journey in terms of my health and stuff, whatnot, and just started working on it in the background. And I feel like truly the time we opened Misk was the best time. It couldn't have been the most perfect time to open.
Yeah.
Any earlier or any sooner, even though I won the tender from 2017. 2022 is when I opened. What's that, 5 years? And the lesson from that is life is all about timing. You know, I won the tender in 2017 and I opened in 2022. And I don't feel like if I'd opened that a day earlier, it would have been what it is right now. Because all the stars aligned, you know, the right people started to come into my life, you know, the right ideas, the right concept. I was in a better headspace, you know, energetically everything started to align a lot better as well. And you can just feel it. You get that feeling when you know, okay, this is the right time to do something. So there might be times out there where you're like upset or, you know, disappointed that something is not lining up or working out for you. Just maybe understand it's not the right time. And when it is the right time, you'll feel it. You'll be able to feel that it's the right time.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm now curious. So I know like it's still your new baby, but do you have any future plans of like any other places you might open up? Or?
Yeah. So we're looking at, you know, potentially opening up something else in the park. Hopefully that, same place, hopefully that pulls through. We're looking at another potential restaurant in Parramatta. It's more of a bar kind of vibe, which will be fun. Something fun, you know, like easy to eat, still very good quality food, but somewhere where you can go and kind of have a bite to eat and maybe a little bit of a boogie at the same time.
I love that.
Because I love doing that as well. We all do, right? And kind of Sydney's lacking places where you can actually eat and then stay. You know what I mean?
Agree. Yeah, agree.
You know, if you can do that, then you're capitalizing on the person.
Yeah.
You know, why allow them or give them a reason to leave?
Yeah.
So we're looking at kind of potentially creating something where you can have something to eat and a bit of a boogie. And then, there's obviously always opportunities that we're exploring in the eastern suburbs and in the city. But for me, we're not short of opportunity. It's being able to choose the right one that's going to feel the best and just make the most sense.
Yeah. Would you ever do anything outside of food ever again?
Yeah. You know, I was involved in a marketing company. So I find that very intriguing. But you guys doing an amazing job. I understand exactly what goes into running a marketing agency, and you guys are doing amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Childcare has been a very big industry that I've looked at for a very, very long time. Yeah, I think it's a great industry.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah. I've always been extremely interested in childcare.
Oh.
Still have a lot of love and a lot of love and connection to construction development. So I feel something's going to pop off other than my social content stuff and whatnot. I think in terms of childcare and development and hospitality, I think that's where I'm kind of heading towards, if it's anything got to do with bricks and mortar, not
That's
online.
cool.
Yeah, not online, yeah.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah,
That's
well,
cool.
there's not going to be a shortage of babies.
That's true.
There's always going to be, you know, kids being born and they need childcare, and Sydney is growing, and it's also government funded.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm very passionate because I love education, I love mentoring, I love children, truly. And if I can bring my love for children and my, you know, understand and if I can bring my love for children and my knowledge and understanding of business and marketing to childcare, to that industry, then I think it should do very well, and something that I'm passionate about. And I have a lot of respect for as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can hang around with kids for 10 hours straight.
Oh, honestly, respect to anyone who works in childcare or even like teachers. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
it's insane. Do you have any like younger siblings? You said you're the oldest, right?
I'm the eldest.
Yeah.
I've got a younger brother.
Yeah.
He's 2 years younger, and a younger sister, and they're both married with children.
Oh.
So they're all beautiful children. It's 2 girls and 2 boys.
Oh.
So yeah,
Uncle Jad.
Uncle Jad. I'm the favourite uncle.
Of course.
Yeah, they're fun. They keep me busy. I've learnt a lot about children through them.
I was gonna say, yeah. Would that be like where like your mentoring skills have come from like your siblings and also your like nieces and nephews?
Yeah, I've also kind of got my own approach into how I would like to raise my family and my kids, and I've been around a lot of children, a lot of families, and understanding also psychology, because I read a lot regarding, you know, psychology, behavior patterns, especially, you know, from when they're kids all the way to adult. There's just certain styles that I would like to kind of maybe implement rather than not. And you see that.
There's so many studies, hey, like out there.
There's a lot of studies, you know.
Yeah.
Children are, how can I say, what do I say? Children are smarter than you think. They absorb so much knowledge, you know, they're sponges, and they absorb so much from their surroundings, and a lot of, I would say, habits and who you are and trauma comes from when you're a young child. So having that knowledge and that understanding is why I think I'll, you know, want to give it my best shot at potentially having my own family one day.
Family must be really important to you. Like that family value must be very important to you. must have been instilled from you from when you were young though, right? Like, did you have that strong family network growing up?
Not as many as other people, because we only had like one uncle who had children, and they were a little bit older than us. So I didn't grow up with a ton of cousins. They were all overseas, which I did get to spend a lot of time with when I did go to Lebanon, which was quite beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's when I got that sense of family and connection. But in terms of my immediate family, I would say we're close. We're very hospitable as well.
Yeah.
We've got, you know, friends that have become family, which is quite special.
That's good.
So, you know, growing up in a household that was, you know, super hospitable and caring and generous, I think that's where a lot of my hospitality skills came from as well.
Yeah, hey, they would have. Were your family quite supportive with all of your business ventures?
Yes, you know, parents will always be parents.
Yeah.
You know, parents will always never understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
Always think you're doing something wrong. Always think you can do something better, right? But they're not meant to understand. And the quicker you figure out that your parents aren't meant to fully understand what you're doing and that you don't need their validation, is the quicker then you can just keep going on your own path. But in saying that, they're always very supportive and they always come from the right place.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just got to go, yes, mum, yes, dad, and take it with a grain of salt. Like, mum will still come in to Misk, you know, do her thing. It's like a secret shopper, and then write me a full detailed report in WhatsApp.
No way.
And I'm like, mum, can you not send it to me now? Like, I'm in service, or send it to me after. Right? And they do it because they care. Or, you know, say I'm having a Sunday morning off and dad calls me and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm training. I'm at the beach. He's like, why are you at the restaurant? I'm like, because I'm having a morning off, but it's busy. You should be there. You need to be there. So, you know, God bless them. They care. At least they care. They ask questions. They get involved. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe a lot of people wouldn't have had the opportunity to know what it feels like for your family to actually be supportive or care, even though if you feel like it's being annoying. But yeah.
No, that's really cute that your mum even like writes you a whole list.
Oh, it's a full detailed report.
No, yeah. Do you implement any of her requests and her reviews?
Of course, always. I take feedback very seriously. That's been part of my growth journey. That's been actually, I would say that's been the secret weapon to how I've been growing as a person and in my business, is through feedback and constructive criticism. I'm extremely open to it.
Yeah.
But in the same context, I know who to kind of listen to and what to listen to.
Yeah.
I know how to filter. I'll listen to everyone, but I'll know how to filter and apply it to myself where need be, in my own self and in my business, in my businesses.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
But I love how involved she is.
Yeah, so sometimes maybe too much.
Too much. Does she like ever get in the kitchen or anything?
No, none of that.
You won't let her back there?
Never. For me, seeing them there, enjoying themselves, bringing their family, bringing their friends there, is enough for me.
Yeah.
That's all I not expect, but that's enough. That's all I want.
No, you sound like a very busy man. What do you do outside of work for fun?
So I'm on a TV show called Gogglebox.
Yes, people might have recognized you from there.
Yeah, so I do that, which keeps me quite busy and is a lot of fun.
Yeah. How does that work? Like, is that a weekly thing? Like, how does...
So it's on... There's 2 seasons a year. It's 3 months of shooting per season, so 6 months a year. So half the year I'm filming.
Yeah, right.
3 on, 3 off, 3 on, 3 off.
Yeah, right.
Usually. We just get to Maddie and Sarah's house. We'll do our thing. We'll talk shit on the couch. We'll have a laugh. Very similar to what we're doing now. But just in case I'm, just the only thing different is I'm watching TV and commenting and reacting, which is obviously been quite popular now, which I've been doing for the last, reacting now and commenting has been a big thing on social media, especially on TikTok. And I'm like, I've been doing this for 5 years. This is wild. This is actually a thing that people enjoy. And it does, because, Gogglebox is the #1 entertainment program.
Yeah.
So it's been doing really well. But what do I do in my spare time, of the little time that I have?
Yeah. the very
I focus on myself. I'm very big into my own routine. I wouldn't say in particular mental health. I am very big on mental health, but I focus on myself. I train 4 or 5 days a week. I go for walks all the time. I swim. I hit the infrared sauna 2-3 times a week.
That's good.
I do yoga. I fast. I go out for dinners. I do stuff that's going to bring me enjoyment, but also add value to my life.
Yeah.
Nothing against people that watch TV shows. Maybe I need to start watching TV shows because I actually don't. Like I actually crave laying down and watching a series, but I just prefer to do things in my spare time that are going to add 80% of my spare time. I would say is adding value, is things I'm doing that are adding value to my life.
Yeah, right. No, that's cool.
Yeah.
For self-development. And
Self-development, growth, whether I'm networking or going to an event or learning something or you're researching something or improving my physical and mental health.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
You're always on the go.
Not as much as before. I can be on the go a lot, but I'm also super relaxed and calm.
That's cool.
And I think that's the trick, when you master being calm and relaxed,
Yeah.
but being busy at the same time and efficient, that's when you've hit like a whole new superpower. Because most people that are usually busy are frantic. They're all over the place.
Very scattered.
They're scattered. They're drinking tons of coffee. They're never present.
Yeah.
But if you can get to a point in your life where you're busy, but you're calm and you're poised and you're present and you're relaxed, I think that's like the optimal level to be running on. And I've taken steps in my life to be able to get to that and to maintain that for the rest of my life. And that's what I value.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's important. Hey.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. If you could give young Jad some advice, what would it be?
Fucking hell. If I could give younger Jad some advice, what would it be?
Some life advice.
I don't know. It's a really good question. I'm trying to think. Don't give a fuck about what anyone thinks. Do you?
I like that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you? We're conditioned to grow up, whether it's in our culture or where we live, to act a certain way, be a certain way, think a certain way, right? By who? Who gives a fuck? Just do what you want to do, be what you want to do. As long as you're not hurting yourself,
Yeah.
right, or your family,
Yeah.
then do what's going to make you happy. And just maintain that and have that chain of thought. Because what's right for you or might not be right for other people.
Exactly.
And what's right for other people might not be right for you.
Yeah.
So just do you.
I love that. I think little Jad would love that advice.
Yeah, I think so.
Your life has been so interesting. I personally think.
I've done a fair few things. I've traveled a lot. I've been across many industries. I've got to meet a lot of people. I feel though as if I don't study, my form of education comes from meeting people. That's my education. People say, how do you learn? I go, I learn through people.
Yeah. There are different methods of learning, different ways of learning. And I think that's a really good way to learn.
Absolutely. My method of learning and the way I've been able to educate myself is through people, meeting people, asking questions, understanding what they're about, what they like, what they don't like, where they go, what they do in their spare time, where they eat, how do they travel, what they wear, what their problems are in their life, what do they value. All this knowledge is like I would say like a CRM system or a data cloud that I've got in my brain that I kind of tap into when I need to do something or learn about something or implement something in my business or in my life, because I've got this abundance of knowledge and it helps me kind of make decisions or make the right decisions or being able to implement this knowledge in supporting my businesses or relationships.
Yeah. What's like a common, or what have you found that is like a common feature or a common thing that like successful people do that you've taken and you've implemented?
Depends what you define as success. For me, like...
Or what do you define as success?
For me, what do I define as success? I define success as a measure of your happiness. That's for me success. Success doesn't have to be owning a yacht or a boat or businesses or being the richest person in the room. For me, success is being able to do the things that you love with the people that you love every single day, right? And being able to do it with so much happiness.
Yeah.
And if that means raising a family, if that means, you know, becoming a priest, if that means, you know, becoming a nurse, if that means becoming a monk, that means, you know, becoming a car salesman or whatever it is, then that's successful. If you can be able to do the thing you love with people you love, you know, well, with all your heart and be a good person, that for me is success.
Yeah.
And there's different stages of success.
Yeah, right. I agree.
You know, for me, someone asked me that question today, actually, you know, what do you feel like, you know, being successful is for you? And I said, what I feel like right now being successful would mean to me is being able to start a family, raise a family, and do the things that I love with my family and give my family the opportunity to do these certain things. And that means having good schooling, being able to introduce them to, you know, good lifestyle in terms of swimming, you know, walking, health, eating good food, being able to travel, you know, being able to do the things that I've got access to right now, but extending that to my family.
Yeah.
And I think that's success. It's not necessarily about, you know, being the richest person.
Yeah. No, I love that. I can't wait for you to have a family now.
Yeah, you might want to have to look after them.
I'll babysit them for you.
Yeah, for sure. I think you'd be good at that.
Oh, thanks, Jad. How many kids would you have? Like,
I don't know. Whatever God brings me,
Yeah.
I'm happy with. 2, 3, who knows, maybe 4.
wow, big family.
Yeah, 2, 3, who knows, like whatever, you know.
Are you excited or scared? Like, I personally would be scared. You're looking after a whole nother life.
I haven't really given it so much thought, but I think like anything, it's scary, but it would be exciting. From the people that I know that've got children, they say it's the best thing that's happened to them.
Oh,
So
no, I love that.
we'll see, maybe one day.
One day, okay. I'll be waiting. Drop them off at my house. I'll look after them for you. So in terms of then, yeah, so who do you sort of look up to and grab that sort of inspiration from then? Like any key businessmen that you sort of look up to help run your businesses, etc.?
I never knew what the word mentor meant till like 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago. Like I was like, what? Like a mentor? Yeah, I never grew up with anyone kind of guiding me or helping me other than maybe my parents or by me asking certain questions, because I never really knew anyone or had friends in the industry.
Right.
But there have been some key people along the way, you know, that have helped me or have given me the love and knowledge or the support. And, you know, that doesn't necessarily come from people that are just in business. It comes from, you know, all sorts of different kind of people. It could come from someone that's super successful or someone that's, you know, very emotionally intelligent or someone that's just supportive. I feel like there's mentors in your life, or instead of using the word mentor, I would say key supportive people in your life that will get you to where you need to get to and fill in the gaps of where you need to be at.
Yeah.
So I've been quite blessed to have some people around me, and I've also given back in my own way of mentoring people myself. Funny enough, but yeah, I would say I don't really read books. I don't really, honestly, I'm not going to lie and be one of these guys that comes out and says, yeah, I listen to podcasts and I read books and I listen to this guy and this book changed my life and this podcast in my life. I would love to be that person. Don't get me wrong. I'm dying to be that person that can read a book or can listen to an audio book or can listen to a podcast, but I just don't.
Yeah.
And I want to, because I feel like there is a lot of merit in doing that. I think you would learn a lot. Have I gotten around to it? Not as much.
Yeah.
I'll do it once a blue moon if I'm lucky. But
To each their own, though.
yeah, I've just kind of had to learn through my own way.
Yeah.
If I come across something or I hear about something or I look into something.
No, I love that. Like, you explore your own, like you grab knowledge by exploring on your own, and that not necessarily being through books and like podcasts and stuff. You do it through like talking to people and experiences. And I think that's cool.
Absolutely, because as well, like one thing is, there's one thing listening to a podcast. There's nothing listening to an audio book, and there's nothing reading a book, right? I get it. But how well can you retain that information that you've actually read or listened to?
Yeah.
Now, that's the most important thing. You're spending hours listening or reading something, but do you ever remember anything that you've read or heard?
Right.
And that for me is the most important part. It's not necessarily about quantity. It's about the quality and being able to retain the key important factors or lessons that you've read or learnt about or heard, and then implementing them. The grabs. So
I was going to say, do you think people fall short in sort of executing and implementing?
100%. Everyone's got 100%. I think a lot of people have good ideas, but do they have the courage or the self-confidence to be able to execute? Maybe not. For me, I've invested in a few things, and I always say, I'm not investing in the business, I'm investing in you, because I believe in you, because I've seen what you can do, I know what you're capable of, and I know your potential. And the same concept goes within when I'm hiring staff. Half the staff that we've got at MISC don't have a hospitality background, and I'm actually a big advocate for now hiring people with no hospitality background.
Really?
Because I feel like if you've got the right attitude, you can be taught.
Yeah.
And it's
I
the same.
agree.
Yeah, and the same thing applies in business. A lot of these people are amazing people, but just need that kind of push or that, to build up their courage and the self-confidence to be able to take that leap. Because business is a scary thing. There are sleepless nights. There are big risks. It's not what everyone perceives it to be online and on social, and be your own boss and travel the world.
Yeah.
And I'm a boss this and I'm a boss that. It's
hard.
It's hard. It's real life shit. Like you got to eat shit. To be fair.
Yeah.
And you have to make so many sacrifices. And people don't promote that. People only promote the wins and the success. So.
But without the losses.
Without the losses. So.
Is there any ever true wins without the losses?
Absolutely. I think losses create great lessons. Losses create great lessons, and you need to learn from these lessons in order to be able to win.
Yeah.
To answer the question, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that you can read or listen, but it's about applying them to your life and actually actively applying them. And I feel like the key to being successful, or the key to be able to doing the thing that you love, is you have to be persistent.
Yeah.
You can't give up.
Yeah.
And you've got to just keep trying, and you got to keep trying in different ways, and you've got to learn you got to wear many hats. You got to be the salesperson, you got to be the marketer.
Yeah.
You got to do the HR. You got to do it all. So once you start to learn about, all the different things that you're lacking, especially in a startup, because you can't afford to hire people. I think once you educate yourself on what you're lacking within your own skill set, that's when you'll be able to apply them and really accelerate.
Have you ever invested in anything that you regret? I don't want to say regret, but like any sort of like...
Yeah.
Yeah, like bad investments.
Crypto. Fucking crypto.
I think everyone sort of regrets crypto.
Crypto was one bad one. Look,
But you learn from it.
but I learned from that.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it has been the only, I wouldn't even call it a business decision, but the only transaction that I've ever lost.
Really?
Ever.
That's a good track record.
Yeah. That I've lost that. Like, and truly lost that. People think they've made money. I guarantee you 95% of people that have actually paid tax on their gains or did it the right way have not made money in crypto. It's a very small minority. But what also crypto taught me was in life, nothing comes easy.
Yeah.
And it also taught me that, how do I explain it? It also taught me that you need to apply yourself and give focus to something in order for something to be successful. Now, if I applied myself 24 hours a day,
Right.
or 18 hours a day, 20 hours a day to crypto, I would smash it, because when I did have the time, I actually did well.
That's good.
And it was good. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like you need the time for anything that you want to, for anything that you want to become successful at, you need to apply time.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think that's really good advice. Like, of course, you definitely need to apply time. But I mean, we can count that one off as a bad investment and call it that.
Yeah, look, have I still got crypto? I've still got it, like obviously, a ton of crypto.
Yeah.
I've just left it there. It's doing what it's doing. Would it pop off? I'm not really relying on it. There's definitely been some lessons in it. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. But it actually, investing in crypto actually taught me a lot about human behavior and psychology.
Really?
In terms of people's behavior patterns and how they see things in the world. Yes, it actually taught me a lot about marketing.
Wait, how?
Because people buy into what if or it could. People buy into FOMO.
I see.
Right?
I get what you're
and
saying, yeah.
being part of crypto and NFT, and when I was really deep involved in it, in all the Discord channels and on Reddit and every channel, Telegram, whatever, I was always monitoring people's reactions, their behavior patterns, what they were saying, how they were reacting to different things, and it was crypto is marketing.
Yeah.
It's how well you can market the coin.
Yeah.
Right. And at what point you can get into the coin, which is going to determine your success.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not talking about stable coins, or I'm not talking about your main coins, your blue chip kind of coins. I'm talking about all the other ones, and even NFTs. I did quite well in NFTs, but I also have lost there as well. Yeah. And that's all about marketing. So there was a lot of marketing lessons that I took from that, and that's, how to build up a campaign.
Yep.
From start to finish, full circle, holistic, of how to sell something. That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Just from the idea to who you get on board, to the type of content you release, to when you release it, to how you validate your idea, to how to get people to buy into it, how to get people to be advocates of your idea or your business or your coin or whatever.
Yeah.
And then for them to do your marketing for you.
Yeah. And
then for you to then kind of then launch and then be able to accelerate.
Yeah.
So being a part of that industry really opened up my eye to a whole nother level of marketing.
That's insane that's like the lesson that you saw from it. That's cool. Like, I don't think anyone else would have gotten that from investing in crypto. I think that's awesome.
Well, there's always a silver lining. I can sit here and beat myself up and say I lost a ton of money and I'm stupid. But why would you do that when, you have, but what can you take out of it?
What can you take out of it?
All right. What did I learn? What did I feel? What did I absorb? And it's only when you have time to put yourself in a positive state of how you think and go, okay, let's reflect on my journey in crypto or whatever, and be like, all right, what have I actually learned from it? I was exposed to a whole level of, methods of selling or marketing through different avenues online.
Yeah.
And now I know how to do that. Yeah. And I always kind of did know, but I was just exposed at a higher level. Yeah. So if I ever need to play in that field or, hit up e-com or whatever it is, I have the knowledge now.
Oh, that is awesome. I love that.
Expensive lesson, but it's a lesson.
Worth it?
It's always worth it.
Always worth it.
Life is a lesson in itself.
That's true. You never stop learning in life.
Absolutely.
I think that's always, that's a good characteristic to have. Always be hungry for that knowledge. I think that's cool.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah, agree.
So you got to always be able to be hungry for it because you need to keep eating to grow.
Oh, I like that. Can I steal that?
Take it. I just made it up.
Oh, I love it.
There you go.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
Jen.
Thank you for making me feel comfortable. I hope we've unlocked a few stories. And thank you to, obviously, White Key
Oh, thank you.
for hosting me.
No. Thank you. Thank you for making the trip. 'Cause I know it's far.
Always. Nah, it's fine. It's a stone throw.
Nah. I'll come back to Misk.
Done.
I'm a regular now. I feel like your
Perfect.
staff know my face.
I love that. We'll have a shot together.
All right.
We've got a signature melancello.
I tried that the other day.
There you
That was
go.
delicious.
There you
Also
go.
highly recommend.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
Jad.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.